right, and here we are, another fabulous edition of We Have Enough. I'm your host, Kody Warriner, and it is Thursday, December 29th, pulling into the new year pretty soon here, 2012. This show, I'm going to put a little bit of a different spin on things because up till now we've kind of, had fun. And I want to get a little bit more serious and talk about why exactly this show is called We Have Enough. That statement means a lot to me as a person. I feel like we're in a state right now where the world is moving faster. Everything's getting bigger, better, more supercharged this, turbocharged that. And meanwhile, we have like 33% of North Americans that are on antidepressants, which is a statement in itself. I think that the disconnection and degeneration of our relationships, nature, our education system, all kinds of things are really suffering at the hands of us always wanting more. And so for me personally, when I'm feeling overwhelmed and like I'm not where I really want to be, like I should be working harder and doing more, earning more money, buying more things, keeping up to people that I don't even care about, I always try to remember that I really have everything I need. Like I have enough all the time. And there's an author and a Buddhist that I really like named Thich Nhat Hanh that said, "We have enough in this moment. We had enough then and we'll have enough later." And I think that's been true since the beginning of mankind. I think it's true today, and I think we need to slow down. I believe that if we could keep this in mind, our will to increase the rate with which we destroy would simply cease to exist. And even here in North America, we always forget that we're in the top 1% of the possible quality of life on the entire planet. Even the homeless people here are in the top 1%. But right now, we're statistically the least happy. So everything is this soul-crushing paradox. And let's hear what they got. Here we go.
Maybe someday I'll be something, and I know I can make it. No regrets until this day. Life couldn't get better for me, no way.
Come over and kill some time. Do you wanna come over and kill some time? Throw your arms around me.
All right, here we are. This is Kody Warriner, and you're listening to We Have Enough on CHLY 101.7. Thanks for tuning in. Onward and upward. Here we go. Anyways, as I was saying before, on a more serious note, for once in this radio show, we have enough. I want to discuss that concept with a good friend of mine. Cliff MacDonald is here. And so a little background information on Cliff. Cliff is a child of World War II. He was born in 1935 in and around the London area, South Wales in the United Kingdom. Cliff left school when he was 15, and a week after his 17th birthday in 1952, embarked on an immigrant ship for Canada to join his mother in Toronto. 8 months later, he was on his own in Toronto and joined the Air Force about a year later after that in 1954 and became an aircraft radio technician. He was a career airman until 1974 and then went into commercial aviation in Edmonton. In 1980, he attended the Outward Bound Mountain School in Carameos, BC for a few weeks, and it was a life-changing experience. A year later, he became an instructor at the Southern Alberta Institute of Technology in Calgary and retired in 2000 and came to Nanaimo last April. While in Winnipeg with the Royal Canadian Air Force, Cliff was introduced to amateur theatre, and he did some acting at the Rainbow Stage and Manitoba Theatre Centre in Winnipeg, the Citadel Theatre and the Walterdale Playhouse in Edmonton, and the Pleiades Theatre in Calgary. And over the years, Cliff has been in somewhere between 40 and 50 stage productions. So help me in welcoming Cliff. How are you doing today, Cliff?
I'm just doing great, Kody. Thank you for inviting me.
No problem. So, like I said in the last segment of the show to discuss the concept behind We Have Enough. I kind of wanted to get some input from a man of your experience, with quite a number of years on this planet, having been born before World War II and whatnot, and obviously been to many different places in the world. I guess I'm just going to open it up with a question for you. So, with reference to the concept of we have enough, how have you seen the progress of humanity evolve and simultaneously devolve over your lifetime? And what is your idea of true power?
How has it evolved? I think its greatest advances has been with self-help programs. Started in 1935 with the 12-step program, and we now have an industry of books telling us how we can help ourselves.
Of course.
And that when we empower somebody else, that is true power. Trying to get somebody to do what we want is not true power. It's helping them reach their potential. And this is what Outward Bound was for me, in helping me get to a potential that I never saw. The devolving?
Yeah, in terms of how, although technically, on a technological level, obviously we've made huge advances, but, you know, in my eyes, that has cost a lot also, in terms of maybe the strength of relationships, the institution of marriage, education, nature, obviously, the harms that we've caused there. Like, what do you have to say about that? How have you seen that change?
We have become so mobile that our family has disintegrated. And after we leave as children and become young adults, we do not have the benefit and support of our family. And I think that has led to more human doings than human beings. And I think that is the devolvement of, we have become less human beings and more human doings.
Wow. That makes a lot of sense. That would cater to the notion of the disconnection, really.
Yeah.
Of, really focusing on working hard to provide for the future rather than being now.
Yeah, the quantity of life has become the goal, not the quality of life.
Mm-hmm. And so, again, back to the concept of having power as an individual and as a human being, I suppose, how do you feel around the sort of the idea of judgment and image, and like what are the sort of the factors that help a human being to unlock themselves and reach their full potential as from maybe a teacher's perspective?
Well, I in my career as an educator, the greatest discovery I made was I couldn't teach anybody anything, but I was very good at helping them learn.
Mm-hmm.
We are so caught up in acceptance. We are so concerned with what people think of us, what we do. The reality is 10 to 15% of the people that know me care about what I do. 10 to 15% don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Will disagree. And the other people in the middle don't give a damn.
Yeah.
So why should I guide my life to the 10 or 15% that don't agree with me?
Well, that just doesn't make any sense.
No.
Not at all.
And that is the image, the acceptance. And
And you've obviously seen that become a way larger controlling factor in people's lives.
Yeah, and we're accepted anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to gain acceptance. We are accepted.
Yeah, interesting. I don't disagree with it. Right? Okay. Yeah, and all right, well, I have a second question. And, this really plays on, I suppose, your wisdom. I really believe, for me, I always hear the terms intelligence, wisdom, brilliance, and I had to really start to differentiate the difference between need and want in my life. And that can only really be done with a certain degree of wisdom, which obviously you can never have enough of. But I would define brilliance as intelligence underpinned by wisdom. So with that in mind, if you could illustrate the fate of the human species, what would that picture look like at this point?
If we don't learn to live together, Kody, we're going to have to learn to die together. There's no in between. Wisdom, well, we get wisdom from having experience. And we get experience from not having wisdom. So they're intertwined. We've got to go after the experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Learn to live together or learn to die together.
There's no other option.
No other option. Okay. And I guess as a final question, personally, I've really argued with myself also with the definition of hell and heaven, happiness, those kinds of concepts, as someone growing in this world. And I would like to hear your take. How would you personally describe hell and heaven and or happiness, considering the notion that they are situational manifestations of everyday life?
Hell? Hell is that place where peace and rest can never dwell. It's torture without end, infinite worry. And worry, my friend, is simply regret. And as such, happiness is the absence thereof.
So you could, I guess, define happiness as the absence of regret, simply. And hell would be panic or uncertainty.
Yeah. Worry.
Mm-hmm.
We have enough.
Yeah. Well, exactly. We do have enough. So maybe there's not a lot to worry about. Exactly. Well, do you have anything else you want to say?
One of my gurus is Mark Twain. And one of his quotations is, "It ain't what folks don't know what hurts them. It's what they do know that just ain't so."
Yeah. Wow.
It's to find out those things that just ain't so. A lot of what we've learned, we've accepted without question.
Yeah.
And if we can't prove it is so, then it ain't so.
Yeah. Wow, a lot to leave us with there to think about. I'm going to keep things rolling, but thank you very much for joining us, Cliff. I really appreciate it, and I guarantee that the listeners appreciate your time as well.
Thank you for inviting me, Kody.
No problem. Yeah. Wow, excellent. Keep the show moving on. I'm going to play Propagandy, and this song's called Iteration. And yeah, this is We Have Enough on CHLY 101.7 in your favorite town, Nanaimo, British Columbia. Here we go.
So what through the procedure?